Royal Society for the Promotion of Cruelty to Animals. I'm here at the Pignorant protest. Vegan protesters are here. From far off, they have come all the way here to Horsham, and they are here to talk about this film and about how RSPCA is fooling the world by saying that these RSPCA approved meats are cruelty-free and welfare meats, when it's very clear if you scan this barcode that this is something very horrific. It is gas chambering of innocent lives. They're just babies, and then they are killed much before their time.
Supermarkets, when you see RSPCA assured, what that means is the RSPCA agree with pigs being loaded into gas chambers and essentially tortured to death. It's a completely unnecessary way to slaughter animals, and what we're saying is there's just no need to do any kind of slaughter, really. There's plenty of ways to get your nutrition, and so we're here to argue that RSPCA are hypocritical, they're liars, and they're funded by the meat industry, and we demand that the RSPCA remove all association to the meat industry. That's why we're here today.
But is it okay that you're still abusing animals and you're helping some animals and abusing others?
There's police here, and there's this man here who is showing complete ignorance. He and his friends are spreading ignorance, behaving like they're carnivore animals.
Do you really so much of a coward that you can't have a simple debate?
It looks like there is a difficulty today with some members of the public being violent and aggressive towards the protesters. I've heard them screaming out that why do you care about animals, you should care only about humans. It's necessary to understand that just as you would protest against atrocities that were happening against human victims, against terrorism, against war, against apartheid, against slavery of humans, it is necessary to understand that humans are just one type of animal, and the persons who were against the protests were saying, well, they are just bloody animals. Why do you care about bloody animals? Now just imagine, how can you be so foolish to think that humans are not animals? We are also bloody animals if they are animals. So it appears that people don't know science and don't know basic biology. It appears that somebody is injured, and that's Joey Carbstrong, married also.
The RSPCA apparently aren't in the building today. The notice on the window here. It's disgusting that they're even involved with the meat industry to begin with. How can you police an industry that is paying your salary? £4.5 million in 2021. That is the biggest conflict of interest I've ever heard. That is laughable. That is shocking. And no wonder they're kneeling down to the pork industry and won't condemn CO2. Or maybe they do a little, yes, we think there should be more humane alternative. Nonsense. They outright will not put their logos on non-stun halal slaughtered animals because it's against their values. This is non-stun halal slaughter. This is the same thing. This is worse. This is actually worse in many ways because they suffer for a prolonged period of time. They have heightened terror and agony in feces in a dungeon, and they say, well, we kill you together, so it has welfare benefits over killing them alone. It's disgusting. The fact that they're not budging on this should tell you everything they need to know. And they're one of the most funded animal charities in the UK. I think they're one of the largest. So I just want to actually play the screams that I gathered out of these screams actually didn't come from America or Australia. You know, they didn't come from France or Germany. They came out of a UK CO2 gas chamber. And I filmed the screams with a secret camera, and I pulled the screams out of that footage and made a 1 minute loop of different screams that some of them is their last final gasp for life. And then they're in terror and they're screeching. I can't imagine, I honestly couldn't imagine a more sick thing for the RSPCA to assure. You know, obviously just killing an animal is morally reprehensible, but this is like something out of hell. These screams like are something out of some hell horror movie. So I just want to play it for people to remind themselves of why we should always condemn the RSPCA until they stop being involved with this, and share it with others. How disgusting. Can you hear them? Can you hear them desperately pleading for their lives, screaming in terror? Childlike animals who don't understand. How disgusting. These animals are in the most fear you could possibly imagine. You know, and I've been through hours and hours and hours of this footage, right? And I will upload it all. I will upload it all in one go, so you can all see. And you can see that this is. I didn't know what to choose to put into Pignorant. It was just all horrifying, all of it. Like, take your pick. Watch the whole day. This is one random day. This isn't just an isolated incident. And the RSPCA and the supermarkets who actually don't tell the public about this, so people, I honestly think that they should at least bare minimum put some kind of labelling on the products that say that these pigs suffered to death in CO2 gas, because they need that CO2 gas to kill the pigs in there, because they know what do we do otherwise? We can't kill as many pigs. They're only interested in killing as many pigs as possible. They don't care what they don't care about these screams. They don't give a damn. They care about dollar signs. It says both the RSPCA and the RSPCA should care passionately about improving the lives of farm animals. We agree more humane alternatives to CO2 urgently need to be developed. And we continue to urge the UK government to follow the European Union's lead to seek a phase out by prioritising investment in research into a more humane alternative. They've been doing this for decades. They've been saying this for decades. DEFRA's Farm Animal Welfare Council in 2003 called for a ban, a phase out. They said it needs to be banned. It's horrible. 2 decades ago. There is no alternative. There is no, well, there are alternatives, but they're not financially viable. So my answer to that is, until there is one that is consistent with your ethos, which is, animal welfare, remove yourself, your labelling, and yourself from the meat industry. I don't even think they should be in the meat industry. So my criticism is of them, the labelling shouldn't be on pork as a minimum. Do you think that the pig killing industry are going to come around and go, actually, there is an alternative that we lose 10 billion, I don't know, pounds a year. These alternatives aren't as efficient or cheap as CO2. That's why they use CO2. It's got nothing to do with the animals. It's got nothing to do with it being humane. However, to protect the well-being of our staff and members of the public sharing our building, we will not be sending anyone out to meet with the protesters on the street. They're torturing those animals in those gas chambers, and RSPCA are now happy to double down on adorning their logo on that. Okay? So that should tell the public everything they need to know about the welfare movement. if the welfare movement won't even remove their logo from animals that have been tortured, what help do animals in their farms, what help do they have? What hope do they have? Imagine all the other things. If they're accepting CO2, a known torture method, scientifically known torture method, what's happening to the other animals? In the egg industry, salmon farming, I think we all know. They are propagandists for the meat industry. That's what they are. And they need to be condemned and boycotted. All animal products need to be boycotted. If the gold standard is the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, that's the gold standard, and they are failing on their face, the welfare movement has failed the animals. So there's only one solution. It's to give animals fundamental rights to actually protect them from those who want to make money off of their backs, and to go vegan. Until that happens, until animals have rights protecting them, to go vegan. You don't hear one line about going vegan from the RSPCA. That's the way you prevent cruelty. That's how you know. RSPCA are complicit in torturing pigs, torturing animals. This is completely, diametrically opposed to what they set out to do. So it's a complete and utter failure. If the highest level you don't trust, then obviously there's only one solution. It's just to completely be done with it, animal harming altogether. Show them the footage, put a little RSPCA logo on the footage. You're welcome to download it, put an RSPCA logo on it, and share it with people. Show the torture dungeons that they are happy to promote. Exactly. And don't let them get away with it. Because the RSPCA have a much higher level of accountability than the meat industry. We know what the meat industry is. We all know what their function is. It's to exploit and kill animals and create propaganda so people think something humane is happening. They are manipulating the public's trust through the credibility of that logo into ask anyone if they see the RSPCA logo on a bit of meat, what that tells them, that the animals have been looked after, when no, they struggle to death in their own shit in a gas chamber. Disgusting, shameful. Hold them accountable. The more meat that's sold, the more money they get. Shame on the RSPCA. Shame on them until they completely disassociate from the meat industry and actually protect animals. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here for the animals. And another thing, actually, I do have something else to say. Just looking out here and seeing all the activists here, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here for the animals, okay? You need to all, each and every one of you has something to bring to the table here, okay? I'm glad that you're not standing by and letting others, do the work, because every one of you has something to bring. And, I've seen the farmers protest. They had 3,000 farmers there, short notice. 3,000 in short notice, because their livelihood's at stake. They can rally up that many. It's because it's not us that's the victim. So it's much harder to get people to be angry. That's why you have to see what they're going through, these animals. Like, revisit it. Revisit it once a week. Just remind yourself. They can't even help themselves. They don't even have a way. They don't have a way to escape. They're so vulnerable. They're like little kids. They have no one helping them. And the only movement that we have for these beings, the only movement they have, don't put them as a priority. Everyone's got their life, they've got their life. But look, everyone has things they have to do in order to function in society. And there's not, what's stopping 1,000 people being there? What's stopping them? It's a real deep and utter shame that farmers can whip up 3,000 people, just like that. That animal killers can whip up more people than those who are defending the rights of the animals who are being tortured in gas chambers.
There appears to be a lack of knowledge, complete ignorance, and unscientific attitudes that make people live in a delusion that they are someone superior to other animals, and that other animals are actually animals and they are not animals but a superior species, superior kingdom called human. We're not from a human kingdom, we are from the animal kingdom. We are within the animal kingdom, the chordata group primates. our body can very well live without animal products, and we can all be vegan. There's no need to kill, there's no need to rape females to produce babies and kill the babies. And if this isn't known by people who are here to prevent rape and murder, who are the police, who are our government, then why are we calling ourselves a civilized society? So even if RSPCA had some magic formula to make it a welfareist meat, it won't be still ethical, because it's never ethical to kill somebody, because they are someone, they are not a thing. And the only reason why we kill them and we don't kill human beings is because of speciesism.
Because I remember
As human beings, all of us are animals. Not only that, we are animals who are frugivore animals. Now, if you would actually listen to science, our body, our mind, both are designed only to have plant-based foods, because our intestine length is 9 to 11 times longer than our body length, which is a characteristic of herbivores, and frugivores especially, because we are frugivores, we are primates, we are apes, we belong to the ape classification. In the kingdom, primates, in the animal kingdom, in the order of primates, we are the great apes, one of the great apes, that are all frugivore. So it is complete ignorance. I think this word ignorant is very important here, that the people who are killing animals in ignorance, and all over the world we see animal meat and dairy products being sold, but we call human faces and human beings people. Isn't that a little bit wrong? Because by giving people status only to humans in our day-to-day language, we are promoting speciesism, which is an extension of racism. See, that is actually supposed to be the full form of it, because they are not preventing cruelty, are they, if they are allowing people to harm animals in such grotesque ways, and that too at such a large scale. The scale of this is so ginormous. RSPCA is the meat industry. In this movie we see that they are getting a percentage commission on the sale of every piece of meat, which means that they are fooling us that they are actually helping animals and preventing cruelty, when what they're after is profits. They're getting profits through the sale and trade of meat products. The government is making money from the sale of meat products by labeling them falsely as cruelty-free products, as prevention of cruelty, RSPCA approved. But remember that this is all business. We are all in the matrix, where we are being hoodwinked and we are being fooled by industries that are only here to convert these animals into things. They are not objects. If they get diseased, which they often do, they are thrown like trash, because all they are to them is a few pennies of profits per head.
that's young. You can't say the cows produce milk because in some way they feed the animals. A cow produces milk because she's a mother.
Because they give birth to the calf and they feed the calf.
Bashed to death on free-range farm. Bashed to death. Now this is something that's even been banned, but it still happens. They want to live, but they're not allowed to. The fear in their eyes is, you don't have to see a movie or a documentary to understand what I'm saying, but you can watch the documentary and you can learn more about how they feel and think about the perspective of them. Think of them as these little babies who deserve love, who deserve affection. And see, these beautiful vegan activists are here today to support the pigs and to support the documentary makers. This documentary maker is Joey Carbstrong, a famous personality in his own right. Even if you have dairy, it is also ignorance, because all of these industries, such as dairy and animal meat, are based on animal starvation and murder, and before that the females are sexually abused in each and every one of these meat and dairy industries to produce babies who are taken away and killed after starvation. The life of each of these animals ends in a brutal death, not a normal one, but a violent death. Look at this. You buy, they die. So how can you prevent this cruelty? Not to buy RSPCA approved, but to actually not buy at all. So remember that if you want to be free of cruelty in your life and to live a lovely life, a happy life, a life of compassion, peace, kindness, and happiness, then it is perfectly possible to be vegan, to be happy, to be healthy, because you, as I remind you, are a plant-based, frugivore ape animal. You don't need animal meat for any kind of health. This is an illusion called omnivorism created by the Matrix. Remember that? And be yourself, be natural, be a human. Don't be a demonic being of hell. Don't be a monster. Thank you.